Hello and welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Happy Wednesday to everyone that is either joining us live right now or hopping on the replay. My name is Joanne and I'm super pumped. I was reviewing our quick questionnaire that we give our guests, and man, does today's guest have quite a story that I can't wait for you to hear. So I'm going to jump in. Let's get her on. It rhymes with paprika. Genicca, welcome. Show.
Ah, hello. Hi. Thank you for having me. And you
Well,
said my
I
name
love
right.
your name. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I didn't want to butcher it. So you had given me that little tip and it helped me make sure
Yes.
I got it right. So welcome.
Yes.
Genicca.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and honored.
So serial entrepreneur all day long. Start
Mhm.
back when, like, how long have you known you've been an entrepreneur? I know you started when you were 19 with doing things. So give us your backstory and your history a little bit.
Yeah, so I was one of those girls in the group of all her friends in high school that could not contribute to the conversation around like university and college. There was actually no plan for me to go, and it required me to take out a loan. I've always wanted to be a teacher growing up. So, before getting the loan and going in for ECE, early childhood education, I did some research and I talked to teachers, and they just didn't like seem happy. They weren't excited about the work they were doing. So I hesitated to invest in college university degrees. So I actually went through the newspaper while all my friends went to university and college, and I found a sales job.
Okay.
And back then you had to go through the newspaper to find a job, right? And they
Right,
were all
right.
sales.
Yeah.
And I am an introvert. I don't, I'm pretty shy, but I knew that I wanted to, support my family. And I had like this desire to create a different life. So I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. So I ended up doing door-to-door sales when I was
Oh,
18. Yeah, yeah. And I
that's some
learned,
work. That's some work. That's
oh
that's
my
a
God.
hustle. That's you got to hustle for that, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh. I was so rejected. I never felt rejection like that. And I'm from a really busy city, Toronto. And so I just remember being rejected all the time. So I experienced like that backlash, but I learned by, mentors who were into marketing and sales how to actually go about it. And yeah, did really well in the beginning and eventually branched off by the time I was 20 and just started doing my own thing. Only because I learned a skill. And yeah, and I've always been like a rebel ever since then. It's been hard to be in a box and to do a regular job.
Mhm.
And when I did finally get a job, because I sold the company when I was 24, I worked for somebody who ended up sort of almost screwing me over my commissions. And it was like a sign that I'm not meant to work a regular job. Uh, yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to break the stigma around like what it looks like, what success needs to look like,
Right.
and to kind of like create that on my own terms at yeah, I guess at a young age.
Wow. I love that. Absolutely love that. So
Thank you.
you tried to be, fall in line, do the thing that everybody says, get a job, and you were
Yeah.
you were still young. And you were
Yeah.
if this is not for me.
Yeah, yeah. I tried several times, because there was the fear around, okay, I'm going to start a family.
Mhm,
I want something stable. And
mhm.
I had all these stories around what stability looked like. And I tried the job thing and I thought maybe I could get maternity leave and I did it just for that. So I had to really have like a conversation with myself and decide like, do I create security or do I leave that in the hands of somebody else? So yeah, so I had a conversation about starting from the very bottom and working my way up again. And then was sort of forced in the online space without, not by choice. I did not want to be in the online space because, like I said, I'm pretty private. I'm introverted. I'm shy. I liked being
Right.
able to, go door to door, talk to strangers and never see them again. Like, but I ended up in the online space because I had my kids back to back, and I had to again have a conversation around what kind of life I wanted, and it required me to be in the online space, and it was like my biggest fear.
Wow. Okay. So there was a lot that was unpacked there. First, having a conversation with yourself about whether you create your security or you leave it in the hands of someone else. That is so powerful. And I think that's such a battle many of us are going through and we don't even realize it. Like
Yeah,
we think we're more secure leaving that security up to someone else that could care less.
right.
They really could
Yeah,
care less. They'll just get someone else when they're done, right?
yeah,
That is
yeah,
so big. How did you walk
yeah.
through that and really realize ultimately, wait a minute, I'm responsible for my security, not Joe boss manager at my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Like, how did you unpack that?
God. I would say that the way that my mind works and the way that it's been built and how I've nurtured it, honestly, is through mentorship and coaching.
Mhm.
I realize that I don't know everything, and I think it's a gift to be curious. So I was always curious at a young age, and I'm glad that I was mentored by people who exposed things like mindset and, you attract what you think, and you can create your own reality, and what you focus on expands. So these things stuck with me, and every time I was open and curious to a new reality, and sort of just experimented, I sort of like started to build confidence because I started to see results. And I think it's important to be open and curious, to try something new, and then to surprise yourself because,
Right.
uh, yeah, because like you don't know what you don't know. And theory, we've been conditioned to believe, to make money a certain way. And I saw other people doing it differently, so I thought, why not me? Like, why not me? Let me just try this and see if it works. And
Right.
I think it's important, to stay curious, and yeah, to try new things because you really don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, and it's just not limiting yourself on something you don't know. Like
Yeah,
we
that's
already
true.
have walls up on things we haven't even tried to climb
Yeah,
or tried to step through. We're just like, oh, this
yeah,
wall, I'm just going to stay in my box. There's no way out. There is a way out. Just
yeah.
go straight through it. Climb over
Yeah,
it.
and
Figure
I
it out.
love hearing stories like, you know, this series that you guys have. It's so powerful because one of the things that sort of gave me permission to try new things is to actually read biographies of people and to hear
Mhm.
stories and to see myself in them. And then to just explore and experiment, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm either going to stay where I'm at, or I'm going to try something new. And if it does produce results, I can say then that I've tried it all. But
Right.
I think a lot of people fear the unknown, and there's so much evidence that it's possible. And if you just started to see the evidence more than saw the fear, then I think people would take more chances.
I love the word you just used, experiment,
Yeah,
instead of new. Oh, I got to do something new. People get more scared around, but we're just testing. All of this is right. We're seeing, how does this work? How do I feel? How do I step forward into this?
yeah,
Ooh, I like this part. Ooh, this one's a little scary. Test the waters, but keep going forward. Next test, next test, next experiment. I
yeah.
love the way you worded that. That's like beautiful. It's
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think a lot of people are afraid to fail, and it's like, you know what, you just tried it out. It's sort And I tell my kids all the time, we're going to experiment with different ways to make slime. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Then we find a recipe and then it works. And I think, that's how we create freedom, not only in our finances, but in just in our time, is like, let's experiment ways we can make more money or create more time. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually, like, you're going to find what works. But it requires like a level of, okay, what do I actually want for myself? And that's the conversation I had to have. And when I decided, okay, I really want to stay home with my kids, I really don't want to answer to a boss,
Mm-hmm.
um, I got to experiment. Let's go.
Right. Okay. Conversations with yourself. These are huge for me. They're important. It's just, and I think a lot of people don't have them. Like they're almost scared to look within or have that conversation. Maybe because that inner voice is a little bit of a bully, a
Yeah,
little
that's
negative.
so,
So, how would
that's
you,
so
when
true.
somebody tries or wants to start having those conversations with themselves and they hear that negative voice,
Yeah.
what would be your advice for that?
Ooh. Honestly, if it could be really simple. It could just, you could literally just say, thank you for trying to protect me. Thank
Mm,
you for, um, you know, trying to, keep me safe. But I'm going to go anyways. I'm going to try it anyways because I'm going to be okay no matter what. So thank it, because it's just fear that's trying to protect you from the unknown. Um, and I think, like, if you're committed to the vision you want for your life, you're
mhm,
more likely to hear it and then move forward. But if
right,
you don't have a vision for what you want, it's so easy to stay comfortable and to listen to that voice, because it requires you, it doesn't require you to be uncomfortable, right? And so,
right.
yeah, it really does. You've really got to, like, envision the kind of life you want for yourself and then choose to hear the voice, because I think there's something to be said about having no fear and then being and then walking with fear. Like, I think we can do things scared, and to say that
Yeah,
anyone who's successful isn't fearful is wrong. I think we are all scared, but
right.
I think the difference is, like, we walk with the fear and we recognize it's there, and then we do it anyways, because at the, you know that's how I've been able to, like, choose. I've done a lot of different things, and I can say, okay, not that, not this, and I just know what I'm looking for, and what and what feels good.
Yeah, I feel like in my own life, if I didn't have fear, like if I had a little bit of fear, that was the direction I needed to go. That was where my growth was. That was
Yeah,
my next stage. That was my next like evolution, so
it's
to
like a
speak,
sign. It's a
right?
sign. It's
If there
so
was a little
strange.
bit of fear, that was actually where I needed to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fear and a little, even like fear, and if there's some excitement or
Yep,
curiosity,
yep,
there's a difference between fear and, you're intuitively like, that's
right.
not going to be good for you, and then
Yeah.
fear where it's like, oh my God, what if it does work out? Then yeah, it's kind of a sign.
Yeah, totally. I'm right there with you. I love it. Okay, so share with us some of the different business models, businesses you've done in the past.
So my background is marketing and sales. So I love I love getting creative with different ways to connect with people.
Mhm.
And so when I found myself in the online space, I going back to how I wanted to teach, I became a teacher, but more of a coach and a mentor. So I started teaching people about mindset because
Mhm.
it's really what I could speak on.
Right.
And yeah, and from there, working in between nap time and, again, having two babies back to back with not very much help, just sort of figuring out how to do this online thing, investing in courses and in mentorship,
Mhm.
without really much of an investment. Like, I didn't really have much to invest, but I was, like, committed. So I became a mentor and a coach and started doing courses and private coaching. And then I learned about affiliate marketing very soon after that, and decided that I could try it out. And it really became a success. I affiliated for a coach and a mentor I knew at that time. And I believed in what she was doing. So
Mhm.
I've loved that business model. forever. And then I've tried network marketing, which
Mhm.
I love the residual aspect component to those things. But I've also tried drop shipping, Etsy. I've looked at Amazon FBA. Like I've looked at everything, which is why I finally feel this, at this point in my life, it's like, hey, I know where my focus is. I know where it's the most simple. And yeah, and it happens to be, affiliate marketing and doing my soul's purpose, which is coaching and mentorship. But it took time for me to like get there, but you have to start somewhere to feel
Right.
like you've arrived.
Because all of those experiences gave you more knowledge, gave you more confidence, right?
Yeah.
Gave you more ways
Yeah.
to speak on, more strength to choose to recognize what you did want, choose better paths, right? So it's
Yeah.
it's never a bad thing to try different things. It's not a negative. It's really just part of your story of what got you to where you are this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I've learned so much of what not to do.
Right.
And I am not definitely like, I think to say that I am not the same person I was before I started an online business
Mm-hmm.
is one of like the greatest gifts because through that I feel I'm way more confident in myself and way more um I've grown. I think like entrepreneurship is the path for personal growth and development.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, and if you're listening to this and you're a mom, it's like there's really or you're not a mom. Like I think there's no greater gift in the world that we can give to our kids and to grow as a human. And so I think of what I do, not just like for myself, but how it's going to impact the quality of my life and the quality of the lives of my girls who've seen it all. Like they want to be entrepreneurs when they grow up.
Right. Mine are the same way. So how old are your
Yeah. So I have a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old, and
Oh,
I have a 16-year-old too.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think just like involving them has opened their eyes to a different just perspective on life.
yeah,
Different
yeah.
set
And
of
also it like
goals and
builds
different,
their
yeah.
it builds their confidence when they
Mhm.
see you trying new things or stepping into your confidence. It's wild that the kids in this generation now are exposed to being visible, and I think that's going to be of benefit to them because now they don't have to overcome the fear of being on camera. Uh, but yeah, it's been cool to have their support and to see me, try new things and to pivot, not fail, but like pivot and start again.
I've never thought about that. That's so true. Our younger generation will never have a fear of going on camera.
Right?
They
Oh
just
my
won't.
God.
Where they just
It's
won't.
so second nature to them.
It's yeah, it's just they don't even want to talk on a phone. They want to FaceTime.
Yeah,
Everything's on camera. They're like, "What do you
that's
mean?"
so true.
I'm like, "Can you please
That's
just text me? I
true.
don't want to FaceTime."
So true. Oh my gosh. Everything's so different now. The way we make money is so different. The way that we use Wi-Fi is different. So yeah, so we've got like I know I need to evolve with the times, which is why I ended up on TikTok because I resisted that platform for so long.
Mhm.
Um, but I kept getting kicked off of Facebook. So I'm like, oh my God, I think I just need to be on TikTok. And it's what grew my confidence and
Mhm.
yeah, and everything else from there.
Okay, because I saw this question, and so let's address it. Some people just cannot fathom how to step out of their comfort zone. So
Okay.
what would be your advice for that very first step to start to tiptoe out of it?
Okay. To step out of your comfort zone, is to I think first of all, it just needs to be fun. Like I think we take ourselves so seriously, like it's a do or die situation. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna die if I do this.
Lions aren't coming for you.
Like it's not a do or die thing. I think it's just like have fun with the potential of it actually working out. I think we need to start um, reprogramming our mind to think, what if it does work out? Oh my God, what if it does? What if it does? Oh my God, what if it does? And then to have like a vision of who you want to be, in the next 5 years. If part of that vision is like, I want to be more confident, I want to be able to take my uh, kids out for take my kids on a vacation. I want to be able to splurge and go shopping. Like if you know who you want to be and the kind of life that you want to have, then you're more likely to just do the uncomfortable thing, because we know that to have those things and to really create that, it requires us to be out of our comfort zone. So I think the first place to start is like, why? Why would you want to be out of your comfort zone? Like for what? Is it worth it? And then
Mhm.
if it's not, then you
And
can
it
you can
needs to
sit.
be more than just money. Would you agree with that? Because sometimes
Oh
when
my
we just put it like a dollar amount, we're just like, eh. Because money, it just comes and goes. So we actually don't have a drive for it. It has to be something deeper. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like it needs to be okay, what if it is money? Well, okay, like what? What are some of the things that money would do for you?
Right.
How would it make you feel, right? Would it give
Mhm.
you more time, freedom? Like money is money, but unless you visualize what that money could do for you or the feeling that it would have, it's not as exciting to go after.
Right.
Like I said, imagining who you want to become, right? That's
Mhm.
not money. That's a feeling. That's a confidence thing. So money comes after. We've got to like really decide the kind of life that we want. For me, I knew I didn't want to be dependent on anyone, so that motivated me to get out of my comfort zone.
Right.
Um, and so having fun, knowing who you want to be, the kind of life you want to have,
Mhm.
and just knowing that you're going to be okay. I think we all just need to know that we're going to be okay no matter what. And so at least we can say, you know what, that girl on TikTok, not for me. Next.
Right.
Or that business, not for me. Next. But here's what I learned. And it's all just stepping stones and without any attachment.
Right. Oh, I love that. Love that. Love that. And it is not every decision is life or death, but we make him out to be. Some
Yeah.
even go like, oh, getting on a Zoom with my business plan advisor, life or death. Nope, nobody's
Oh,
going
that's
to come and
true.
attack you. Like, no one's going to come take you away. It's not
Yeah.
that big. It's not that big.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing that um, comes up like is okay. I'm used to doing life alone, and when you have a business advisor call, it's like, you know what? I can actually get support. I deserve to be supported,
Mm,
and this is what I love about the community is like the support, and a lot of us aren't used to having that. But I've spent so much money on masterminds and coaching and mentorship. But what I know has helped me grow is like being open to being supported and being open to be mentored and receiving that support. And the more that I was open to receiving, the more confident I became because now I'm pouring into me.
right. You made yourself a priority,
Yeah,
which is huge. I love that. All
yeah.
right. So you shared a little bit that you were not necessarily a fan of Facebook and you moved over to TikTok. So share with us how did you start the account? What did you do at the beginning to grow it and really gain those raving fans and followers?
I was throwing spaghetti on the wall. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I honestly, I feel like with TikTok, it's an all or nothing platform. You're either gonna do it and show up or just don't do it at all. So I started dipping my toe, and I think that could be said about anything. Like if you're gonna create freedom for yourself, if you want to bring in an extra $500 for your family, like just decide and do it. And for a while, I was tiptoeing and kind of just posting whenever I felt like it. And then, of course, I only heard crickets. And then when I decided that I was going to commit to it, I started to see how. So it's interesting how that happens. So it's like I decided, and then all of a sudden my intuition opened. It was like, okay, that's how. And I learned to post consistently. I started, not recreating the wheel, and getting inspired from other people in my niche and creating content similar to theirs, but adding my personality. And so when I knew the how, I really just needed to create time in my day to create the content, which uh, I mean, I don't know anybody else's strategy, but I know that for me, it took me posting 2, 3 times a day, every day consistently.
Mm-hmm.
That made a difference. But also knowing who I was speaking to, like having my niche in mind, and and not missing a day is
Mm-hmm.
what changed everything. Which is what I know most people, and I struggled with in the beginning, is like, if I don't feel like it, I'm not going to do it. And then
Right.
eventually it became like,
It was like more of a hobby and you made it purposeful.
yeah, yeah. I used to think like TikTok was just a place to scroll, but I started to realize, oh my goodness, people are actually like making a lot of money on this platform. I need to get serious with it and use it as a way to like, yeah, to create more freedom.
Right. And once you made that switch from just kind of like, I'll post a video here and there when I feel like it, you started being, is it correct in me saying you were thoughtful in your messaging? You really thought about each video. Who are you trying to reach? What are you trying to solve for them? What's the goal of this video instead of like, let's see what happens?
Oh, 100%.
More of a
100%.
plan in place.
Yeah, yeah, because people have so many things that they're thinking, and so we don't want to confuse them. We want them to know what you're all about. So it's like being repetitive in your messaging, and uh, yeah, and constantly speaking to the pains and the struggles of the person that you're here to help, which for every niche it's different, right? And I didn't know that. I was just, I thought I needed to be funny and create like entertaining content, but there's so much more to it. That there's got to be
Right.
like a method to the madness. And I have learned a lot from being in the community for sure, like seeing how much support is given around being visible on TikTok has
Right.
definitely been helpful for me.
Yeah, and looking not even just at what others are doing right now, what did they do at the beginning of their account? What was the process? Can you see how they communicated to their audience instead of just the words on the screen? Like what was the purpose behind it? If we can start looking at content when we're researching that way, I think we would do a lot better when we're making it our own.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely would go down rabbit holes. And when I'd see a creator, I'd kind of look at their method to the madness and then click on
Mhm.
their bio, and I could see how it all connects. And so, I think it's a more just to keep trying. TikTok is a beast of its own.
Okay.
And I think like with anything, whether you're building a business in any industry or building on social media, you got to try different ways and trust that eventually it's going to work out, which is the biggest thing for TikTok. You've got to trust the process, because it's like on the 30th day where things go viral, but until you stick it out and show up, you're not going to you're not going to get to the 30th day.
Right. And you can't show up when you feel like it. You can't show up like, oh, yesterday I posted this video that I know was amazing, but it has 10 views, so I'm just going to wait and see what happens with that video. Nope. It's posted, go on. Next day, new content. Go, go, go. Don't
Yeah, it's
it's like
disheartening for sure
right, you just
to
can't
see
get
that.
emotionally attached to the content, so to speak.
Oh my gosh. It's like the ones that I don't really pay much attention to creating that go viral. I'm like, what about the ones I worked really, really hard for? I stopped trying to understand it. I just stopped trying and just continue. Like what I would suggest, there are going to be days that we don't feel like it. So, for all the busy people who feel like they don't have time to do this every day, I honestly just pick a 2 or 3 days in the week where I create several pieces of content,
Mhm.
and and then spend time just putting it out there on days where I feel like not the best. Uh, so yeah, batching content has been really
I
helpful.
think that's huge. Batching is so important, especially if you are a busy mom or you have that 9 to 5 that's really like a 7 to 7, right?
Yeah.
Is when you're in a creative mode, just film a ton.
Yeah.
Even just have B-roll ready for text
Oh my God.
overlays and, just group a whole bunch and have things ready that you can just post on those days where it's just crazy,
Yeah.
right?
And I have to say, I feel like when people ask me, I really don't I don't do this all day. It's one of the things I do. So uh, anyone can spend an hour a day doing this. And sometimes when I am spending that hour, there's like 10 different change of clothes and like just so because I have an hour before I have to pick up the kids. I've had
Right.
to do a few other things. So it's like, hey, let's go, let's change outfits. You don't need all day to, I think we have it in our minds when we're starting a side hustle or looking at an extra income opportunity. It's like you don't need all day to move the needle. And that's something that I know comes up when people talk to me is like, how much time is this going to take? It's like, honestly, if you can create space for 1 hour a day and commit to that, you will see growth and it will pay off.
Yeah, and space of like a dedicated hour. Like we're a focused hour,
Yeah.
focused time, not distracted time. And you're like, oh, I've been doing this for 3 hours. Have you really been doing it for 3 hours? Were you fully focused? Because usually you don't even need that. If you have a focused 30 minutes, a focused hour where
Yeah.
your mind is all into it, a lot gets done, a lot
Yeah.
gets accomplished.
That yes, and I have to have conversations with myself about that too. It's like, hey, no, you don't need to do that again for the fifth time. Like just move on to the next thing, or you don't need to uh, you know, tidy up. It's like we waste so much time doing things that are not important.
Right.
So yeah, that's like a constant conversation that I have with myself. Just
Yeah.
keep
Well,
going.
it's almost that fear. So we start looking for other, oh, I have to do this first. You haven't cleaned that closet out. You don't need to, right? And suddenly that has to happen before
Oh
you,
my God.
you know,
Right?
go into
Oh
your
my,
education or create a video because it's really you're just scared to do it.
yeah.
You're feeling a
We're
little
procrastinating. Procrastinating. Yeah,
yeah,
that's why this year I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And I think for those in the comfort zone, it's like the more time that you spend thinking about it, the bigger the fear. So it's like just keep moving and keep going, and eventually, and like I said, play. And if you can laugh at yourself, you're gonna be okay because eventually it's gonna feel good. I mean, now,
mhm,
um, and this hopefully gives people some hope what would take you maybe 2 hours to do can eventually be 30 minutes, 1 hour, right?
right?
Like you just build the skill and then eventually you're going to be so much better, so much faster and more confident. And that's something to look forward to is it's not always going to be uncomfortable. Eventually it's natural to you.
Right. And just keep it simple. It doesn't need to be hours of editing and, crazy transitions.
Right.
Have fun.
Oh my gosh. When I
Fun and be
saw,
your silly, crazy self and put it out there and then go on to the next.
yes, yes, exactly. That's key.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So, for anyone in the challenge right now, trying to just figure this all out, what's your advice for people in the first few days of the challenge, just getting started and kind of examining what
Oh
this
yeah.
world is? What would be your
I
piece?
want I wish everybody went into the challenge acting as if they spent $500 on the
Oh,
challenge. I think like because it's $7, we don't take it as seriously because again, we in our minds we've only paid $7, but I honestly would love everybody to think about this investment as more than what they spent so that they can commit and show up, but
mhm,
also to look at this like this could be the ticket to what you're looking for next. And if you gave yourself the 2 weeks to be open to the possibility of this being the ticket, you would show up more differently. So, yeah, prioritizing what you want for your life, acting as if this was like the ticket to freedom, I think it just changes the way that you do anything. And honestly, like I'm blown away at the value that is offered within the challenge because as a coach myself,
Mhm.
um, I would have charged more for sure from what is offered and available. I think it's a great stepping stone for people that can't afford mentorship, that can't afford to start businesses. It's truly a gift that I think we all deserve to give ourselves.
Wow, I love it. You have to come back on the show and have a conversation with Dave. We need to have a repeat visit for sure.
Yay. I'd love it.
Because you have so much wisdom, experience, and just joy that I think all of our members need to see over and over. So
Aw,
thank
thank
you for
you.
coming.
Thank you. I've learned so much being here. Even though I have experience, the reason why I'm excited about being here is because I know what it's like to not have many resources to get started with. I know what it's like to struggle looking for answers. And I wish I had this when I was struggling with 2 kids, not enough time, not enough resources.
Mhm.
And I just want everybody to, yeah, to be able to get in without all the things required to create success. And so, yeah, I'm so grateful that you guys reached out.
Yeah, well, I'm just so happy that I got to talk to you today. I just love it. Keep me posted on how things are going. Reach out anytime. You can always email me, email Dave or Roxy.
I
And you
will.
definitely need to come back in the next few months for sure.
Totally. Let's do it.
All right, you can follow Genicca at Genicca Whitney 2.0, GeniccaWhitney 2.0. Go give her a follow on TikTok. Let her know that you saw her on Wake Up Legendary. And thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll
All right,
see
have
you
a great day.
soon. Yes.
All right, everyone, that was a phenomenal interview. Please go back and watch. And I did see some of the comments. The challenge is absolutely $7. If you spent more than that, you chose some optional upgrades during that process, but the challenge itself is $7. Also, on day 5, because there's a little argument going on in the comments, there is a special offer. It is for a short period of time. It is not offered exactly the same later on. So if that's something you want to take advantage of, it's optional. You can. Anyways, Dave is back tomorrow with another fantastic guest. And as always, everybody stay legendary. Peace.